So I guess it's kind of a commercial vacuum day today, if you consider this commercial, that is. Which they do, but I'm a little iffy on it. We've seen VacLab measure the Prolux X8 Elite, and that did pretty well. And I've wanted to try one of these for a while, but they don't pop up like super often. There was one in the cities, kind of near my friend Josh, but they weren't very responsive. After an offer had been sent and they declined, it's like, well, then how about this amount? And they're like, nope. They never bothered to respond, so whatever. So this came from, oh no, this came out again. I'm not sure if that white piece is supposed to be on there or not. It might not. It's our HEPA filter. So this machine wasn't used a lot. It was used, but not a lot. And that's not dirty, that's just the shadow of my fingers. So clearly not, not terrible. And I've had this machine open all the way because I did want to see what was in here. It's about a 4.5-inch motor that I can't place. So I don't know what it is. I kind of wonder if this is supposed to be on there to swivel it. I usually see those covers and you peel them off, but that one's still on there, so it's like I don't know what that's about. Okay, we got that back on, and I have noticed there's a big empty hole up here, and I'm pretty sure that this is they just make the mold all the same between the models. This must be where the battery slot is for their battery powered model, and power switch is built into it, power cord on the underside. Now I've always wondered what the turbo chamber was, because that's something they advertise with their Bagless machine, is that it has some sort of turbo chamber. And what that actually is, it's this area outside of the filter here. See, beneath the shroud there are these kind of almost like ramp-like pieces up here. So I'm assuming, it's supposed to keep the stuff swirling against this piece here, and this just comes out too. And then, when you shut off the machine, things are supposed to kind of fall back down those vents, but to me, it doesn't seem like this is very well planned out. Because the only place for the dirt to go is into the shroud. Now, fortunately, it's actually pretty easy to get into there because they designed that. So you just pull this little ring off and you can, get into that. And you can even pull the shroud off, which is nice and all, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because you dump stuff into the shroud here, but the moment you start the vacuum back up and it's going to pull that air back into there, it's pretty much going to get right back into that chamber up top. So, in my opinion, not a great design for it. It's definitely something different, but it could have done better. I think just a multi-cyclonic system would have been preferable. And this filter was pretty caked with stuff. You can still see some like reddish residue on here. But I did clean this out and it's completely dry and ready to use. Maybe some sort of clay soil or something? I don't really know. And then we have a suction relief valve that's built into the top of this. So it's nice that it's accessible, but I mean, this turbo chamber design to me it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I really don't think it's going to be that much more effective than just your standard like single cyclonic machine. I could be wrong about that, but I just don't see how it would perform any better. I do think, they should have gone with a, multi-cyclonic design, whether that was just a dual or, multi-stage thing, whatever. Alright, so we'll take our electrical measurements just with the unit here. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time doing it, without all the filters, but I will take a measurement of the motor port here, and then I'll take a measurement here, and then I'll do the hoses. Because I have both, I did not receive any hoses with this, but I do have ones that are pretty much equivalent to what they would sell with it. So, we'll just work with what I've got. Like a lot of those higher speed motors, it does have a lot of suction to it. So I remember VacLab saying, it's best to measure things on their side so you're not having kind of a gravity assist, so that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so these are sold both with an 1.5" commercial, like non-electric tool kit. It does use a J wand, which I don't have, so I'm going to substitute the ProTeam's S wand, but I am going to use the this tool because that more resembles what they do sell it with. So we'll start off with the 1.5" hose, and we'll work our way down to the nozzle just to see what we're dealing with, and then we'll switch to the electric kit. It keeps breaking the tape. I've had to like reinforce this multiple times. Okay, so I was a little bit unclear on which hose I should use. This is the one from my ProTeam backpack. I took the cuff off of it to put onto there temporarily. And I was initially thinking I would use this, but looking over some of the images that they provide for this backpack, the hose definitely seems longer than the ProTeam one. Because I mean, I see images of people wearing this and it's like coming like at least down to their waist. So this has to be a better representation of what would actually be attached to it. So this is the hose I'm going to go with. So we'll take the measurements at the end of the electric hose. Probably a little bit of leakage on this. It is closed, but still. And again, I don't know if this is the correct wand, but they do use an EVK 360 on their commercial one. So it's just another case of let's use the closest thing I've got. Alright, we've got the EVK 360 set up. And we'll get that cord out of the way. to be sure we don't nosedive and chew up my seals, the foot up here. Okay. So, I did want to document this. I've noticed there's some debris up here that's not dropping. So, I guess it pulled away from the seal. Yeah. Mostly fuzz, but also some finer dust. So, let's take a look inside. Yeah. It definitely wasn't this dusty before starting this. So I can never remember which way to turn this. There we go. Yep. So now we have stuff that's inside the turbo chamber and is clearly not going to fall back through it. Oh. For a moment it's like, what am I looking at? But that's just the carpet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, considering how little I picked up, I mean, I feel like there's probably more stuff up here than there should be. Maybe I'm just being a little bit hard on it, but I don't know. It's like, you know, I see a bunch of stuff that continues to swirl above the inlet, so that tells me that, you know, this thing wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't super well designed, because I mean, it should be forcing the debris to the bottom of the bin and away from the shroud. And speaking of the shroud, why don't we take that... Why don't we take that off and see if we have anything in that chamber down there? Because I am a little bit curious. Sorry. Difficult to do with single hand. But yeah, it's like that's what was sitting on there. So, as somebody who does do actual commercial cleaning, I don't think I would actually use this. You know, I think it might be fine for somebody, you know, in a residential setting, but it's just when I think of how fine commercial dirt is compared to that which we generally find in the home, I can just see this having a lot of, I don't want to say issues, but I mean, I do think it's going to end up clogging up more quickly under commercial dirt. Because this, you know, this is definitely not the best cyclonic bin design I've seen. So, you know, if you want to buy a Prolux backpack, I would buy one of the bagged ones. That's what I think.